Hi everybody, it's Sammy. Thank you so much for joining us here at Simply Sammy for another episode of Sammi Says. Hey, how are you? Again, I'm so glad you're here. Today's video, it's just really a different video because all my videos going forward are planned videos and this one, it's just not. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about employer-sponsored healthcare. So this topic, this is not a topic we plan on usually talking about here because I have way different sort of content planned, but something happened today that I just have to tell you about. Full disclosure, I'm one of the lucky people who get to work from home. So because of that, that means my colleagues and I, we chat a lot online while we're working during the workday. So, for those of you who work at home or know somebody who does, might be able to relate to some of this. So, sometimes with your coworkers when you work at home, there's some idle time during your shift, some downtime, if you will. Today, while we were chatting, one of my coworkers brought up a very concerning point. I guess before I joined the company, my current employer changed our health insurance provider. And she was explaining that unfortunately, due to the shift, that now because of just, her medical disposition and everything, unfortunately she has to pay more out of pocket than what she does now for a whole array of different things. Obviously, for legal and safety reasons, I'm not going to get too specific here on naming names or specific medical stuff. But I'm totally going to spill the tea anyways, because that's what we do on this show. We talk about shit. Get them teacups, because, oh my god, this tea is so hot. So, you guys know how it is. You're at work, you got a little bit of downtime, so you start chatting with your coworkers, and then, boom, out of nowhere, somebody brings up something heavy. Personally, I'm glad that my colleagues and I are all close enough to where we can just kind of talk about a lot of this stuff openly and just be real about what's going on in our lives and how things are impacting us, especially things from and at the workplace, Anybody who's worked with anybody knows that you work there long enough, you're bound to start bitching about something about the place that, others tend to agree with. And I suppose that that's just really, I guess, an aspect of this that I wasn't really ready for. I wasn't ready for how many people were just kind of willing to speak up and just kind of talk about how bad of a time they're having with my employer's, healthcare insurance, and just why it just sucks, frankly. To me, the most concerning thing is when another girl talked about how Medicare was better than our current insurance option. The fact that this person said that they had better health insurance when they were unemployed compared to when they are employed and have to pay astronomically more for everything. I think it's just really telling. So none of this is meant to be a political thing or a politically charged video, or even me just necessarily bitching about our predicament that we're in and for my employer, because I feel like what we're going through is what a lot of people in this country are going through. It was wild because I guess in corporate America, because I have a very formal, I guess we would say, background in my career history. And I've just never really been in a situation where I'm sitting down talking with my coworkers and so many coworkers at once just start talking very openly and frank on a work forum in where all of our superiors can review our chat and what we're talking about. Just be so open and plain Jane and honest about how our health insurance sucks. To me, it was just kind of inspiring, really. That's why we're even talking about it in this video. It's very bold, especially when our supervisor's just right there. And of course, he took the safe route and was like, well, if we have any issues, maybe you should bring it up with HR. So, and no offense to my supervisor if you're watching, but that's just a super safe answer. I mean, because anybody who knows anything about the corporate world knows that HR isn't looking out for you. They're just not. 9 times out of 10, they're looking out for the company. Their job is to protect the company's legal interest. Like, I know that this doesn't speak to everybody's HR experience by any means, so please don't think that I'm making absolute statements by saying that. Honestly, it's just, I get why, like, he had to say it, because at the time of the conversation, there were talks of there being a group letter of talking about how it's impacting us and impacting our lives, and all of us signing it as a big group. I understand to anybody in leadership, when your workforce is talking about that sort of stuff, it's a really scary thing, especially when that's not what you're counting on or trying to do. And I suppose the most surreal part of it to me was just how blatantly obvious what was happening there. Because as we all know, these employers don't want us banding together because that affects their bottom line. If they switch from a really good premium health insurance to, I guess in this situation we'll call it a cheaper one, the buck is passed on to us, the employee. And I know good and well, just as much as you, the viewer, knows that, you know, these bigger companies, they don't want us banding together because they like the orders coming from the top, and they don't like orders coming from us, the employee. The second you start talking about unionizing, organizing, or anything, that can totally threaten your job, even though that it shouldn't, especially if you're in a right-to-work state. So I guess it was kind of a scary, real scenario, but that's the thing. I don't really know, and that's why I'm talking to you about it, because I want to hear about your experience in the comments below. You know, how do you feel about employer health insurance? What are some of your experiences with it? Is your employer's health insurance really, really good to where this isn't a problem? Or is it bad and you just kind of have your own story? Or do you even have a story that you can tell us in the comments of how this has impacted you having bad insurance, but you know you need it compared to no insurance? So, like, because it caused me to just kind of start doing some research and all this. I'm not going to get heavy into the stats, but one of the most staggering things that I learned about this is that, frankly, 2/3 of all bankruptcies are caused by medical bills. And then 3/4 of those, like, same ones, like people that had health insurance and, you know, still filing bankruptcy, like they had employer sponsored health insurance. So it's appalling to me, especially when I'm hearing my coworkers struggling and in a position to where they're now getting worse care working full-time than as opposed to if they were unemployed. So again, like, this isn't a political thing, because I know everybody has got their own opinion about this, because this is Sammi Says. What Sammi says is that if you put in an honest 40 hours and you work your ass off just like the rest of us, I mean, you should be taking home a decent amount of money. You should have decent health insurance, and you really shouldn't be struggling. If you don't have a job, sure, the struggle's real. I totes get it. But if you're working hard, why should you be working harder as opposed to somebody who really isn't? I mean, especially when you are a valuable employee. So again, this isn't political content. I'm not here to sell you a political agenda, nor even any sort of corporate agenda. What I'm here to do is to say, because this is Sammi Says. And Sammi says that if you put in your 40 hours, you're a full-time employee, you're dedicated, you're doing all your work, you deserve good health care from your employer. You also deserve decent pay, because your labor is the most valuable thing that you can give to an employer. And that's the thing. Depending if you're not being appropriately compensated, you're giving it. So, IDK, I'm not about to act like the expert on this topic. I'm not about to rattle off a bunch of, like, BS that I don't even understand. So I want to hear from you. You heard what I had to say. Now's your turn. So please go down in the comments, right down here, right in those comments. Please, for the love of God, comment and just tell me, like, what's going on? Like, do you like your employer's health insurance? Is it good? Is it bad? Has it, like, impacted your life in some sort of negative way? Also, while you're doing that, please don't forget to like this video and also subscribe if you're not already. Special thank you if you are already a subscriber. Also, we're gonna take a second and pay some bills. Today's video was brought to you by Digital Seraphim Productions, produced by me. So, if you haven't, please check out the link below to our PayPal. On there, you can support us either like between $1, $50, I don't care. Every little bit helps. If you want to see more videos, it's a great way to support us. So if you're still here, thank you again so much for watching. I super appreciate your view. Please don't forget to like the video. Please comment about your experience or your opinion. Again, if we get enough, I'll be happy to do a follow-up video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Follow the Facebook page. We love you. Can't wait to see you next time.